Welcome to the introductory Promapp training for UC San Diego. Promapp is a tool intended to help us capture process maps, but also have them be relatable and transferable and shareable. We're going to give you a quick introduction to the tool and talk a little bit about how the tool is different from others that we might have used in the past. First, let's think about why we're mapping processes. We create process maps to understand the current state, right? To understand what's happening in a process, to be able to focus on the process instead of the people so that we can find opportunities, find ways that we might be able to improve a process. With that in mind, why are we choosing Promapp? How is this tool different? Promapp takes a different approach towards process mapping, one that makes the maps easier to create, easier to share, and easier to read. You can also assign accountability for maps so that your information doesn't become stale. And you can capture important information within the maps that allow you to identify trends. Let's think about how our process documentation currently looks. Maybe we'll have a process map that looks something like this. We've spent a lot of time creating this and validating that it's accurate. But can we share this with others and give them a quick understanding of our current state? Similarly with SOPs, they can capture every last nuance and nugget in our process, but they're not easily understood or relatable or transferable. But what if I told you that a simpler view is possible, that we can capture all of the same information and have it be a nice, clean, fewer than 10-step process? Fortunately, all of the information is still captured. Think of this in 3 different layers. The process view, which is the high-level understanding of what is happening. The procedure view, which has a little bit more of a step-by-step approach. And then a work instruction. So what are the actual click-by-click guides and job aids that you might need to reference as you're going through the process? Your process is going to be captured by activities. So what are the key steps in the process? What are the high-level buckets for your process? For your procedure, you'll use tasks. So what are the step-by-steps in how to perform the activity? Notes will help us include attachments, job aids, and also some information on variations. So some of the what-ifs, the rare scenarios that occur. Once you've completed the in-person training, you'll be at the expert level. So that means you'll be able to create and edit and improve processes. Everyone at UC San Diego will have user access, meaning that they will be able to view any processes that are created and approved. The champion and the ProMaster are there to support you as you're creating your maps. So let's see it in action. This is what your homepage will look like. There's lots of helpful videos and getting started information up at the top here, as well as some navigation basics videos, and many more. So I won't spend too much time on those. What I want to do is jump right into creating a map. So if you go to Processes, under New Processes, we'll click Create a Process. During your training, this Z Promapp folder is going to be your playground. So feel free to create any test processes in this folder. Let's create a process for Promapp training. What you'll see here is similar processes. This ensures that you don't create a process map that already existed. The process owner is going to be, I'll assign myself to the owner and the expert. The process owner may not be a subject matter expert, but can approve changes. The process expert is the person who is doing the process day to day, and subject matter expert who will let you know if any changes are needed. The objective for this process is going to be to onboard new Promapp users. This will be your starting point. The first thing we want to do is start mapping our process. The first step in this process would be to gather information about Promapp. Under Assign Roles, you can put who exactly would be doing this task. Since Promapp will be open to all UC San Diego staff, I will put all staff. So this is the first high-level step. But under Tasks, we can say what might be included in terms of procedural steps. So gathering information might include visit Blink page. It might include emailing ProMaster, perform a Google search to see what pops up. The next thing we do is add the next activity. So what's the next high-level bucket? The tasks associated with that would be to watch the videos, watch 2 videos, email ProMaster, and sign access agreement. The next activity would be attend in-person training. Some steps that might be there would be to block calendar, confirm with manager, identify a process map to bring to training session. Now, if you add a task, but you haven't put any information in it, you'll get an to do. Basically a reminder for later that you'll need to fill in what this step is. The next activity, let's say it's not for all staff, but for the trainer. Prepare for training session. The tasks there might be print materials, reserve space, send Outlook invitations, order catering. Let's stop right there and see what our process map looks like. If we head over to our map view, you'll see that the map has already been created for us with the high-level buckets about what are our high-level steps, and then if we expand out, you'll see the procedural steps. Something else that's really cool is since I've entered in a piece of software here, Blink and Promapp, it puts indicators there showing that these are systems, and if we hover over them, you get a little bit of information about what that system is. Now, let's say we made a mistake. With other tools, we might need to start fiddling around with decision diamonds and moving boxes around and getting arrows pointing in the right direction. Promapp is so simple. You can just drag and drop. Let's say you gather information, you complete the training online, and then the trainer prepares for the session before the staff attend the in-person training. Now I've moved this step up. If I go back to if I save, go back to my process view, you can see that the process map has done the shift in the process for me. I no longer need to fiddle with making sure the arrows point in the right place. So these are the foundational concepts in understanding how to start in Promapp. From your process view, you create a new process, you arrive at the edit screen, and you start adding activities or tasks or additional attachments and notes. One thing we'll introduce you to in the in-person training are the other features and data that you can capture. Under timeframes, this is actually really cool. You can capture how long each step in the process takes, as well as the total time. So gathering information might be 30 minutes. Let's say you email an inbox and it takes another day or two to get a response back. So your total time might be 1 day, 2 hours and 30 minutes. And it'll translate it. The preliminary training, hopefully no more than 30 minutes to watch these 2 videos. Preparing for the training session might take 15 minutes. And the in-person training will be about 2.5 hours. You can also include how many times you think you'll run this process over the course of the year. Let's say 250. Now what this does for you, when you go back to your process map view, it'll tell you about how long each process should take. And if you make a process improvement step, let's say you eliminate this step entirely, it'll tell you exactly how much you would save making that process change. Now that we've seen how to create a process, it's important to know where our final processes should live. Rather than creating a hierarchy of folders based on VC area or department or office, our structure will follow the ESR process landscape model. We'll be creating processes at the level 3 and saving in the level 2 of our process landscapes. So if I were to create this process here, negotiate terms and conditions, 1.5.3, I will simply call the process negotiate terms and conditions and then save it in the appropriate folder path. So I'll save it here at the 1.5 negotiate award and agreement. This will allow us to simplify our naming convention and create simplified titles for our process maps. So if I see a process that says negotiate terms and conditions, I can see based on the folder structure and the numbering model here that I'm not talking about real estate or anything else. The terms and conditions have to do with research and pre-award. So if I were to create a process that had to do around student onboarding and pre-enrollment, so this is before students are enrolled, I could create a process called, let's say, review documents and save it in this student onboarding folder under student, pre-enrollment, and then student onboarding. And I would know just from the simplified title of review documents that we're talking about documents that have to do with student onboarding for enrollment. And it's not reviewing documents for finals week or anything else. Everyone at UC San Diego will be able to see our process maps. So that being said, as an editor, when you create a process map and you haven't yet sent it for approval, the version number will be 0.1, 0.2, etc. And the only folks who can view it are folks with editor rights. So this is going to be the folks that have gone through the full in-person training. The next step, once you've created a process, will be to send it for approval. Once you've done that, your process owner and your process expert, along with anybody that you've included on your RACI, will need to view the process and then approve it. Once they've approved it, it becomes published. The numbering you'll notice changes to a 1.0, 2.0 version, and now the map can be viewed by anyone across campus. Thank you for watching this video. Please remember that there's a lot of useful tools already in the help menu in Promapp, as well as guide videos on Blink and within Promapp. If you have additional questions, please feel free to reach out to us anytime. support-promapp@ucsd.edu.